stray. A simple world where love would bloom in every corner of the living room. Oh, the golden thread, it ties us tight through black and white into the light. A real love, it's always there. Classic moments beyond compare.
Welcome back to The Golden Thread, Lessons of Compassion from Classic TV. These episodes are brought to you by the Classic TV Preservation Society, founded by Herbie J. Pilato. Today, we go back to the very beginning of one of television's most beloved shows, the pilot episode of The Golden Girls. On the surface, it's a comedy about four older women sharing a house in Miami. But beneath the laughs, beneath the cheesecake and the sarcasm, there's something deeper being built. A home. Not just a house with walls and furniture, but a home made out of compassion, acceptance, and chosen family. And that's the golden thread running through this very first episode. The story centers around Dorothy, a sharp-tongued substitute teacher, Rose, the endlessly kind but often naive widow from St. Olaf, Blanche, the glamorous southern hostess who owns the house, and soon to arrive, Sophia, Dorothy's fiercely honest mother. They are women who have all reached a point in life where things have changed. Husbands are gone. Children have grown. The futures they once imagined have shifted. So they do something that at the time felt unusual on television. They build a life together. Not out of obligation, but out of friendship. And in that simple premise, the show quietly tells us something powerful. Family is not always the one we are born into. Sometimes it is the one we build. The emotional core of the pilot actually begins with Blanche's sudden romance. She has met a man named Harry, and after only a week, he proposes. At first, this seems like a typical sitcom plot device, but look closer at what happens. The house begins to tremble emotionally. If Blanche marries him, the others might lose their home. Rose panics. Dorothy tries to stay calm. Even Coco, the original house cook in the pilot script, worries about the household falling apart. What's happening here is something very human. The fear of losing connection. The fear that the fragile family that they've built could disappear. And that fear is something many people understand. When we finally find a place where we belong, the thought of losing it can feel terrifying. Another beautiful moment comes earlier in the episode when Dorothy talks about something deeply relatable. She describes spending time with a younger woman at school, or with younger women at school. But for a moment, she forgets her age. She laughs with them, feels like one of them, feels young again. But then, she catches a glimpse of herself in the car mirror, and the shock hits. The woman in the mirror is older than the person that she feels like inside. That moment lands quietly, but profoundly, because inside, most people never stop feeling like themselves. The years pass, the body changes, but the inner voice, the person that you've always been, remains. And the show acknowledges this with humor, compassion, and honesty. One of the most meaningful lines in the pilot actually comes from Coco. While the women talk about age and appearance, he says something simple but powerful. Everything changes on the outside, but what matters, what stays the same, is the inside. And that's a truth that we often forget. The world trains us to value youth, to chase appearance, to fear the passage of time. But this show reminds us of something deeper. That character grows stronger with age. Kindness grows deeper, and love becomes wiser. Then the story introduces the character who will become legendary. Sophia, Dorothy's mother. She arrives unexpectedly after the retirement home she lived in burns down. Her entrance is chaotic, blunt, and hilarious. But symbolically, it represents something much bigger. Life rarely unfolds the way we plan. People arrive, circumstances change, and sometimes the family circle grows in ways we never expected. Sophia doesn't just move into the house, she completes it. Now the household isn't just roommates. It's now a multi-generational family. What makes this episode special is that the writers understood something profound about human life. Loneliness is one of the greatest fears people carry, especially as they age. Society often tells people that their most meaningful relationships belong to youth, marriage, children, early adulthood. But the Golden Girls challenges that idea completely. These women discover that companionship, laughter, and emotional support don't disappear with age. In many ways, they become stronger. Because by this point in life, the friendships are chosen. And chosen love is incredibly powerful. By the end of the episode, Blanche decides not to rush into marriage. Not because Harry is a bad man, but because she realizes something very important. She already has something precious. A home full of people who love her. And that moment, it quietly affirms the golden thread of the story. Sometimes the greatest relationships in our lives are not the ones society tells us to pursue. They are the ones that grow organically, around kitchen tables, late night conversations, shared laughter, and slices of cheesecake. When the Golden Girls premiered in 1985, it did something rare. It treated older women as full human beings. Funny, romantic, complicated, and wise, and deserving of vibrant lives. But the deeper lesson still speaks to all of us today, no matter our age, no matter our stage of life. It is never too late to build connection, never too late to find community, and never too late to create family. Because the real golden thread running through this show is that love does not belong to youth. Love belongs to anyone willing to open their life to others. And that's our golden thread today, guys. A story about 4 women who thought their lives were winding down, only to discover that some of the most meaningful chapters were just beginning. Because sometimes the greatest gift we can give each other is simply a place at the table. If you guys enjoyed this journey into classic television and the deeper lessons hidden within it, be sure to follow the Golden Thread for more moments where the stories we grew up with still teach us how to love. Take care, you guys. Have a great week. And I'll see you next weekend. Later, Gators. Bye.
Whoa.